समझ नहीं आ रहा अपने सैलरी इंक्रीमेंट का क्या करूं।
बेटा इतना क्या सोच रहा है? अपने म्यूचुअल फंड्स के एसआईपी का टॉप अप करा ले। दिस इज द राइट टाइम।
क्या? समझ में नहीं आया।
बेटा इतना क्या सोच रहा है? अपने म्यूचुअल फंड्स का एसआईपी टॉप अप करा ले। दिस इज द राइट टाइम।
आप समझा।
Mutual fund investments are subject to market risks. Read all scheme-related documents carefully.
The Home Ministry is blaming Sonam Wangchuk for the violent turn that protests in Ladakh have taken. Ladakh protesters have been out on the streets in demand for statehood. In a late-night press statement, the government argued that Sonam Wangchuk's speeches had been provocative. His references to the Arab Spring and the Gen Z protests in Nepal were particularly flagged, and Sonam Wangchuk was accused of leaving the sort of situation as it was unraveling without trying to bring it under control. Sonam Wangchuk joins us now as restrictions have been now put firmly in place in Leh and in Ladakh. And the government is arguing that there was already meant to be talks scheduled for the 6th of October. Sonam Wangchuk, let me start by asking you how you respond to this very unfortunate turn of events. 4 people have been killed, 80 have been injured, 40 of them are reported to be policemen. How do you, I know that when you called off your dharna, you said stop this nonsense about the violence, but the government is blaming you. How do you respond?
Yes, so on top of all that has happened, so unfortunate, there's this blame game to find a scapegoat to wash your hands of the real responsibilities. That's even more unfortunate, I find. Sometimes they blame Congress parties, sometimes on me. On me, it's not new. For 2 months, there's been a flurry of allegations from, FIRs to CBI to IT summons and so on. So it's a series in that chain. But yes, it's a most unfortunate incident both for Ladakh and personally for me, because not only these young people have lost their lives, but I have lost in this peaceful path. For 5 years I've been championing that we should not move away from peace, and we should only inflict pain, if at all, on ourselves through anshans, fasts and padyatras from Leh to Delhi. Can you imagine? So inflicting pain on ourselves was always my way. But yesterday and a few weeks before, young people have expressed their utter, fed up at my ways. They have said it very openly that we are fed up with what this peace nonsense is. This is not working, at least with this government, it is not working. It is 6 years and we have nothing in our hands. So please understand, they are jobless for 6 years. There have been hardly any job recruitments. Although promises were so big, I wish they didn't make those promises. There were some promises of 21,000 jobs, 6,000 jobs, when in reality it's been less than 2,000, that too of late. Otherwise it has been zero. At higher levels there is zero recruitment at gazetted levels. So there is a lot of frustration among the youth. And then yes, they've been left high and dry with no democratic rights to participate, no assembly, no sixth schedule. Again, I wish they didn't make promises. The sixth schedule was promised to us in both 2019 and 2020 elections. And then suddenly they took U-turns. So all this frustration came out, I think, yesterday, suddenly, although people think that it was this speech or that person who instigated. There is nobody, I repeat, nobody so capable who has so much influence on youth that at one call 5,000 young people would come out in the streets and, not care about their lives. Can you imagine? Who doesn't care about their lives? It's only when things go out of limit, people stop caring about life.
Okay, let me read out though from the statement specifically. The Home Ministry statement says, it is well known that the Government of India has been actively engaged with the apex body Leh and the Kargil Democratic Alliance. Series of meetings were held with them through formal channels of the high-powered committee as well as subcommittee and multiple informal meetings with leaders, right? So they make this point and then they go on to say, however, certain politically motivated individuals were not happy with the progress made under the high-powered committee and they've been trying to sabotage the dialogue process. The next meeting had been scheduled for October 6th, while meetings were also planned for 25th and 26th with the leaders from Ladakh. How do you respond to the fact that actually these protests turned violence because there was a politically motivated section that was unhappy with the progress that was being made in these talks?
Before that, it's not in the last 2 months or last 2 years even. It's been now 6 years that people have urged in every possible peaceful way. So there have been so many meetings, not to talk of this meeting they are mentioning, there have been like umpteen meetings, but hardly anything came out. Often people would meet just to decide on a next date for meeting. There wasn't anything coming out. So of the 4 major demands of the Apex and KDA, the third and the smallest was employment of the youth. Only that has been partially solved in the last 5 years. Only that, the smallest point. Now the real points are yet to be resolved, the 6th schedule and the statehood. And to tell you, Barkha, the last talks happened on 27th May. It's 4 months and there were no talks held. It was just suspended, left to itself. And then they wanted to go into the next elections without fulfilling the last election's promises. So it's not right to say that there was progress being made. Everybody knows the whole frustration of the youth is that nothing moves through peaceful means. So these talks were not progressing. Yes, 6th October was given as a date. But mind you, that was one thing that really angered the youth, because here these 15 people were on 35 days hunger, and they give a date 16 days later. I mean, leaving them to die almost. Not a bit of empathy or compassion to keep the dates in 3 days, 4 days, 5 days, 1 week.
The statement says there were also talks planned for the 25th and 26th of September. That's today and tomorrow.
True. That's not true at all. Those are true, but they were announced only yesterday or day before, not when these were an issue. They're just freshly announced dates. This 25th and 6th, I only heard of, I think, yesterday morning. So you can't put that in the chain of arguments you build. Actually, it was 6th of October and that was the frustration. So let me tell you why this rampage happened. Actually, it started not yesterday, day before yesterday, when 2 of the Anshan people got seriously sick and had to be hospitalized. That's when people really got moved. And then to see that the next talks are 6th October, like 2 weeks away, even did worse to them. And the apex body of Leh, their youth wing gave a call for a shutdown, a ban, for which all these people came, and there were actually prayer gatherings happening, at which then a group of youth went out, and we heard later that they engaged in all kinds of, unfortunate activities.
How do you respond to 2 of your comments that have been flagged by the government? The reference to or the parallel drawn with the Arab Spring, that is something we saw in countries like Egypt, as well as your reference to the Gen Z protests in Nepal. if indeed you disagree with this violent form of protest, as you said yesterday that you do when you called off your own Anshan and you said stop this nonsense, then the government is saying, why did you make these speeches which refer to the Arab Spring and the Gen Z protests in Nepal?
We have to see this in the perspective. This Arab Spring thing is from some 6-7 months ago. Yeah, this is not evening before what happened. It's just in a Ladakhi podcast where I said that I would rather be the one life that is lost than in future, dozens of lives may be lost, like it happened. So I was saying I would rather die for this cause of Ladakh and the Himalayas by either going hungry or by burning like this Arab Spring thing. So it was a mention in some old podcast which they dug out to relate it to this incident. So this one was long past, and the Gen Z thing they mentioned, I normally don't call these Gen Z. I call it Yuva PD or youth. So yesterday, when this had already happened, it's not that after this something happened. When it had happened, in my tweet, I said it is most unfortunate and condemnable, nindaniya is the word I used, that there has been violence. We never expected. It was just out of the blue, and suddenly a Gen Z revolution kind of thing happened. It was just to describe the situation. You can't say something about something that happens after the event to describe it, to say that it caused it.
So what, according to you, caused it? Because, we have the casualties, we have the injured, we had the BJP office set ablaze. It is, for a place known for its serenity, which is Ladakh, to see this kind of violence is heartbreaking. Who do you blame for the violence if you don't blame yourself and you don't think it was your speeches and you don't think it was the Congress party? And I'll come to that allegation also that the BJP is making. Who do you blame?
No, I don't blame anyone, but this chain of incidents where 2 people were hospitalized in critical condition, people were very upset. And together with the dates, they were very moved, and that's the immediate. But weeks before, several youth leaders and even not so young leaders had clearly said and condemned me actually. They should understand, Grah Mantralaya should understand that Sonam Wangchuk was himself being discarded and criticized, saying that you and your peaceful methods are not working. We have nothing doing with your peace. We'll do our own way. You have done for 5 years. You've been utterly a failure. And I've been saying this will work sooner or later. They would say not with this government. So all this came together when these 2 people were sick and the date. And then there was no such one trigger that, somebody says, come and we'll burn. We just saw, because I was there at the Anshan site, we just saw a part of the gathering there suddenly started raising slogans and going out. And outside, perhaps there were many more, we learn now. Otherwise, it was only 300, 400. We later heard in 15 minutes that some 4,000, 5,000 people are rampaging through the town. So that's how it happened. It was very organic. It was not orchestrated. That's what we need to learn from this. People were frustrated. So therefore, Barkha, I would like to give this message both to the Home Ministry and the people of India that in such times, you don't blame this man, this party. You find the root cause and if possible, do something about it. This is a time when you put balm on the injuries, not cause more harm. Now, as I speak, what's happening is many young people are writing very angry notes on social media saying, look at them, now they are trying to find scapegoats and blame others, shameless government, etc., etc. So they may actually be the reason for another of these kind of events if they continue to just find reasons outside the real reason of what has been through
So, so,
in
so you
Ladakh
believe
for 5 years.
you believe that because the government statement says that things were under control by 4 p.m. yesterday, you are concerned. You say that violence could erupt again if talks are not held soon.
No, no, no. I'm not saying about the talks. Talks, I hope they will hold soon. I'm saying these kinds of statements that Congress is responsible, Sonam Wangchuk is responsible, that is further angering the youth right now as I speak. And it may not erupt into a violent incident like yesterday's, but I've seen the anger. If you like, I can send some of these where they are, it's like jale pe namak, putting insult to the injury. So it doesn't help. So what I'm saying is, you're blaming me and Congress as a scapegoat is a clever move. Yes, clever moves. But what we need is wisdom, not more cleverness. Clever moves have landed us in this situation. We need now wisdom.
Let me though read out the specific accusation on the Congress made by BJP Sambit Patra. He says Congress councillor Stanzian Sepsang is the councillor from the Upper Leh ward. He is the main instigator, and numerous photos have surfaced of him and his workers instigating the violence. He can also be seen marching towards the BJP office with a weapon in his hands. This is the BJP's accusation that this was not a Gen Z protest as you described it later. It was a Congress protest. How do you respond to that? Yeah.
Yes. Barkha, how would you feel and how would he feel? Would he feel ashamed or not if I said, actually, it was found out that that person whose photo he was showing was actually mentions. It was not. It was somebody else who looked like him, and they found it convenient to flash that photo and say, look, this is the Congress councillor. I asked and reconfirmed 5 times before I'm telling you that this was somebody else whose photo I'm sure they're not so bad that they made it up. They got fooled. They made a mistake and quickly went to the press saying this is the councillor. So it is not. So you can see the level of
So you're saying you're saying the photo
game.
You're saying the photo flashed by them is not that of the Congress councillor?
No. This is what everybody has confirmed to me, that this was a distant relative or somebody of him who perhaps looks like him, but they found it very convenient to quickly flash. So this is cleverness. This is not wisdom. This will not land our nation in any good state. Let's understand, sit with these young people and understand their pain and solve that root cause.
The reports are now emerging that the CBI is probing you, source of your funding. There's a case under FCRA regulations on foreign contributions. How do you respond to that?
This is not new. This is from last 1.5 months. First, I was told there is an FIR. Then we got a notice saying the land on which our school is being taken back. Then I got this CBI investigation. So this is all happening 2 months before the election, where they have to fulfill that last promise. And I'm the only voice, perhaps, I wouldn't say only, but a loud voice that is asking them to please fulfill those promises. So they want to silence this voice. And therefore they're putting it all together. Otherwise, can you imagine, in my whole life, there haven't been this kind of flurry of allegations. Actually, from 96 to 2024, me and our school have got some 30-40 national and international awards. Suddenly, just 2 months before 2025 elections, we get 5 or so investigations happening all of a sudden. Any sane, I don't think people of India are so stupid as to not understand what this is. more than that, I have also heard through reliable sources that they are building up a case to put me under Public Safety Act. This is a draconian law where you can be put in jail for 2 years without any bail or inquiry or courts. So they are building this ground, and yesterday's press release is actually a part of that ground building exercise to put it all on me and say I am an anti-national, I am a destabilizing anti-social element or whatever.
I was going to ask you, do you now believe, given the MHA statement, that you will be arrested? And how do you plan to handle that if that happens?
Well, I've always been ready for an arrest. That's part of my possibilities. I have never cared, nor will I, and I'm actually preparing myself for that. I will stand my principles, and I will do everything to save Ladakh, Himalayas, and the nation. See, all these are happening because what we are demanding, sixth schedule and statehood, comes between us and the corporates who are eyeing for huge chunks of land in Ladakh. When I started raising my voice against huge 150 square kilometers, I think bigger than whole of Delhi, that kind of our prime pasture land are being given to corporates. So when I started raising such voices, they have been after me. And I would like to be a part of the sacrifice that it takes to protect this country from being run like a company. Now it's becoming very murky whether you're running a country or a company. Normally, countries own companies. It sometimes makes me feel that this country is owned by a company. So this is where it becomes sensitive, touchy, and then I get under fire. Otherwise, they wouldn't have bothered to go this far to chase me and hunt me, not for just few demands here or there, but it touches very raw nerves at big corporate games in the high Himalayas.
Let me ask you a final question. Do you feel personally responsible for the violence? Because after all, you called your Anshan off. You said it was nonsense. Do you believe the protests lost their moral authority when the protests turned violent?
I wouldn't say that. I actually feel that perhaps because of our peaceful approach, this protest didn't happen 1 year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago. Perhaps it would have happened long back because of that. But now it was getting out of hand and they had had enough, so it erupted like this. So I feel good that I tried my every bit to keep it peaceful, but I failed. Yes, I feel very bad that I failed with my peaceful path. I got rejected by the youth of Ladakh yesterday, and that's a very sad feeling, yes.
So where does the protest go from here, according to you? You say you're ready. If they arrest you, so be it. You'll face it. Where does the protest go? The talks are going to happen on the 6th of October, but what happens now, according to you?
Yeah, the talks and the movement will go on with or without me. In any case, I was only supporting the apex body and the Democratic Alliance of Kargil in this movement. So it will go on, I'm sure, on 6th of October, or hopefully now, a little earlier, they'll do it. And they'll be earnest on both sides. Maybe both sides learned new things, especially New Delhi will take Ladakh more seriously after 4 to 5 people laid down their lives. I mean, you need to take it seriously. This is how strongly people want this promise to be fulfilled. Please don't dishonor the dead by saying it was incited by this person or that party. So I really think we get down to real understanding and not play this blame game. Therefore, I hope this movement will go on, and I very much hope that the government will be sincere and will grant what it promised. Just that I've been holding them responsible and accountable for the promises they made. Even without me, I hope their own conscience should hold them responsible.
Tense times for Ladakh, one of the country's most beautiful and serene places. Just heartbreaking to see it's smeared by violence. I do hope peace returns with a successful dialogue process. We leave it there. Sonam Wangchuk, thank you for talking to us. Thank you.
It's great to see you here. Thank you for watching our work. If you haven't subscribed yet, don't forget to click the bell icon and subscribe to Mojo Story and support independent, robust journalism.